There are 463,634 victims of sexual assault each year in the United States, and that's just the reported version. Sex education should be a part of the standard curriculum for both high school and colleges. It leads to higher rates of abstinence, smarter decisions on safe sex, it lowers the risk of sexual assault, and it helps inform students on what to do if they were to ever get assaulted. To begin, sex education increases abstinence in high school students, which in turn leads to lower rates of teen pregnancy. In the Journal of School Health, Rhonda Strugel states that students felt empowered to use condoms, other barriers, or birth controls in the future when having sexual relations. Sex education has a clear tie to the lowering of teen pregnancy in those schools. In addition to that, sex education informs students on both the physical and mental tolls that comes with having sex. Your body chemically changes after having sex, and it can create a lot of new feelings, thoughts, not only about yourself, but how you are viewed and how you feel towards the other gender. And it's a big responsibility to take on, and it is so important that students understand what they're truly getting themselves into when they do have sex. In addition to that, it helps them to make better decisions and informed decisions regarding sex. Education informs students about safe sex practices regardless of gender and sexuality. Kaya Hubbard of the U.S. News and World Report states that students who had received sex education in schools, only about 8.2% said it was LGBTQ plus inclusive. That statistic is so saddening because there are so many students who are part of that community that can't get the proper sex education that's needed. There needs to be a reform, and there needs to be a way for them to better understand how to take care of themselves, whether that be use a different type of contraceptives and the different things that can happen for a straight cis couple. In addition to that, sex education informs students on contraceptives and family planning. Planned Parenthood is a great asset to be used in this department. It helps students understand things like what their options are if they were to ever get pregnant. Talks about abortion, it talks about adoption, and it encourages students to take care of their own health, including STIs and other things regarding the body that can happen after having sex. Being informed can help you recognize red flags. Sex education leads to lower rates of sexual assault. Sex education defines consent and informs students on consent laws. And this is so important because each state consent laws differ, which is a huge thing in itself that needs to be reformed. But it helps them understand what they need to do and how to better understand consent on their state-by-state basis. In the Journal of Sex Research, Kristen Jacozzi defines sexual assault as a non-consensual sexual activity obtained through force, threats, intoxication, or intimidation. Now, that definition can definitely be, misunderstood, or they can assume that, there's only one way of having assault. But that just proves to show you that there are so many different ways, and that consent should look the same on every single situation. But when it doesn't, there becomes numerous situations where assault becomes, commonplace. In addition to that, sex education opens dialogue about trauma and assault on college campuses. In the Journal of American College Health, Rebecca Ortiz states how college has begun the Define Your Line campaign. It was created by both undergraduate students and faculty members at a large public Southwestern university with the goal of unblurring the lines of sexual consent through peer-to-peer and mediated messaging. By simply addressing and talking about what is consent, opening up about their own stories of sexual assault and rape, it drastically lowered the rate of sexual assault on campuses. So by simply just addressing the things, it, in a sense, demystifies everything that surrounds it. In addition to that, sex education informs students on what to do if they were to ever get sexually assaulted. Sex education informs students on how to report assault. It can walk you through the steps you need to take, whether that is going to the police, getting a rape kit done, and most importantly, talking with your friends and family. It can be a hard thing to discuss. Secondly, it helps students figure out trauma therapy. Many high schools and colleges are partnered with trauma therapists all throughout the state that they're in. And it is so crucial that after a situation like that they receive trauma therapy. In conclusion, sex education courses offered both in high school and college leads to many, many benefits, including but not limited to abstinence. It lowers sexual assault cases, but also gives them tools how to do it if they ever were to get assaulted. And in general, it makes them have better decisions regarding sex. Sex education should be another foundation in the education system.